Hey all, my name's Pete. I want to welcome you all to my series of trapping videos. Well, I guess I should say trapping plus videos because I won't just always be talking about trapping, but also predator calling and hunting and some practical tips for outdoor activities that involve good stuff like firearms and four-wheel drive. So anyway, I just wanted to, in this first video, I just want to talk a little bit about like who I am, first of all, and then why I'm doing these videos, okay? So as I said, my name's Pete. That's my nickname. I have a lot of nicknames. Some of them are appropriate for this channel since it's family friendly, and some of them are not. But my nickname is Pete. My full given name is Jean-Pierre Espil. My family is Basque from my dad's side. And I'm very proud of my family. I live here in Idaho, in southern Idaho, and both sides of my family helped settle the American West. My father's side is Basque. They came over here at the turn of the 19th century, and they were sheep herders, and they settled large parts of Nevada, California. And my mother's side of the family is more Northern European, Scottish, Irish, Welsh. They came over, English, I think too. They came over. They were LDS. They were Mormon, and they came over with Brigham Young and settled Utah. So I'm proud of my family. I'm proud of my ancestors, and I'm proud to be someone with blood running in their veins that helped to settle the American West. And I don't apologize for that. I live here in southern Idaho. I'm married. My wife and I have been married for 21 years. We don't have kids. Unfortunately, we've tried. We have not been successful. We've tried to adopt a few times. Hasn't worked out. But I have spent the last 24 years of my life working with teenagers. So I've worked in a lot of different places: detention centers, shelter homes, group homes, alternative schools, private schools. I spent 13 years in youth ministry for the Catholic Church. And so in some ways, I feel like I have a lot of kids, and my wife and I are currently working on a business plan to actually buy some property in the country and start a ranch, not like a ranch for cows, but like a ranch, small ranch house as a treatment home for teens, or as a transition home for teens. So that's in the works. Anyway, we don't have kids. We do have dogs, so we're kind of dog people. We like boxers. I wish that we had fallen in love with a breed of dog that, like had some kind of application to hunting. And the boxer hasn't been used in hunting since the Bolin Visor, really, when they would run with hounds to grab a hold of the prey. Until the hunters could get there. So boxers are a lot of fun, though. They got a lot of personality, and we rescue senior boxers. And our current dog's name is Mac, and he works with me sometimes as a therapy dog. So that goes into kind of what I do for a living. I have my master's degree in social work. I got it at Utah State University. Great university. I love Utah State. Go Aggies. My parents are Aggies. My best friend's parents were Aggies. It's one of the most prestigious state agricultural colleges in the West. I can't say enough good about Utah State. And I will always plug Utah State because they were really good to me. Anyway, I have a master's degree in social work from there. I work at a local mental health agency as a clinician, as a counselor. Most of my clients are teenagers. Some are not. I do a lot of substance abuse work, a lot of trauma, recovery from trauma worked with a lot of vets. Work with a lot of personality disorders, things like that. I like tough clients. Anyway, so that's kind of what I do for a living. I'm probably like the only social worker that's like who's a member of the National Association of Social Workers and also the National Rifle Association. So I'm kind of a weird animal, I guess, but I don't apologize for that either. I'm proud of who I am and who I've become. So that's who I am. The purpose of these videos, okay, so like I love to trap, and a long time ago when I was, when I was a teenager, about 12 minutes after God created the sun, um, I, my dad, love my dad. Got a picture of my dad here. It's my dad. Um, love my mom too, Mom. My dad died about 6 years ago. Anyway, my dad brought me up in the outdoors, and I shot my first deer when I was 12, and he brought me up in the outdoors. But he was a big time duck hunter, and I never really. I mean, I don't mind hunting ducks, but I don't know. It was not my favorite thing to do in the winter. And one year, my dad was a principal, and one year, one of his newer teachers was duck hunting with us, and I found out that he knew how to trap and do predator calling. And I never gave him a minute's rest after that. And I bugged him and bugged him and bugged him until he taught me how to do that stuff too. And I still do it. I'm 46 this June. So today's May 2nd. So next month I'll be 46. And I love trapping and I love predator calling. And there have certainly been times in my life when I haven't been able to do as much of that because of work. I worked, like I said, in youth ministry for a long time, and in several different states, and I wasn't always able to engage in these activities because of work. But I'm back in Idaho. My wife and I have been back here in our home state for a while now, and I'm back to doing that stuff here where I love to do it. Point of the videos is that I don't I like to watch YouTube videos to learn stuff, and I like to talk to other trappers and and stuff, and I like to do that. And like when I look for YouTube videos on Western trapping, there's not much. Like there's some catch videos, like someone catches a bobcat, but there's not a lot of talking about, here's some stuff that works on these Western coyotes. There's a lot of talk online about Eastern coyotes are harder to trap than Western coyotes. And it's like, well, maybe that's true. I don't know. I'm not an expert, and I'm not a long line trapper. Okay. I do predator control on some ranches and farms. And I like to trap water more than I like to trap on land, but I do predator control. Last year, the most traps I had out at any given time was like 65, and that included some snares. And so I'm not running hundreds of traps. I haven't been running hundreds of traps every year since I was 5 or anything like that. So I'm not claiming to be an expert, but getting back to the videos, like Eastern coyotes are harder to trap than Western coyotes. Well, I don't know if that's true, like I said, but like I try a lot of Eastern coyote sets that the Eastern guys are using, and they don't produce nothing. Okay. And so I'm like, where I want to see some videos about Western coyote trapping, and there aren't really any online. There's a couple real famous Western coyote trappers. The one that I like to listen to is Andy Weiser. He's up in Montana. Someday I'd like to meet him. He sounds like a really cool guy. So Andy, if you're watching this, that would be the biggest compliment I could ever receive if you watched one of my videos. But anyway, but there's just not a lot of stuff on YouTube. So, and also I like long spring traps, and I mean, everyone around me uses coil springs. I just don't talk to very many people who use long spring traps. And so there aren't a lot of videos about modifying long springs or dealing with problems that you get with long springs because they're kind of old school. And are coil springs better than long springs? Probably. I don't know. I just like long springs. I'm more comfortable with them. Always have been. They're what I started with, and they're kind of old school, So anyway, the point of my video is, one, to encourage people to get into trapping. I want to share some practical stuff I've learned over the years about trapping and predator calling. Just basic stuff. It's not everything there is to know. It's basic stuff. And then you are your own best teacher. So if you have the fundamentals, then you go out and you do, and you get experience and you learn, you go, oh, I won't do that again, or that worked really well. But I just basic stuff, encouraging the beginner, maybe the experts that watch these videos, if anyone does, if I say something that you didn't ever think about before that works for you, maybe let me know. Like, hey, I've been doing this for 40 years and I'd never thought of that. Let me know, because I don't always know. But I want to encourage people. I want to share some practical advice about trapping. And I want to dispel a lot of misinformation about trapping too, because it gets a really bad rap. Idaho has got a whole bunch of people moving into it right now, which sucks, honestly. I mean, it's not that I hate people. It's lame because I love this state. It's a really independent state that values personal freedoms and outdoor activities, and we're seeing those things encroached upon daily, and it's getting old. Right now, there's a thing in the there's a proposed rule change to Idaho Fish and Game that some do-gooder group out of Sun Valley wants to require that you place signs within 20 feet of any trap on public property, and it's just like, what? Anyway, I'm not even getting a terrible idea. So anyway, again, going back to the purpose of the videos is, one, encourage people to get started with trapping and help beginners with practical trapping advice. Two, do some stuff specific to Western coyotes. And I'm going to have some of my friends who are longline, who are like hardcore coyote trappers, like who do this like for real, you know, not just on some properties, but like who really go after dogs. Shoot some videos that I'll share so that you can see some guys who are really good do this. I mean, not that I'm terrible at it or anything, but I don't put up the numbers that they do because I don't trap the territory that they do. Anyway, I want to share some stuff about Western coyote trapping as opposed to all the Eastern stuff you see online. I'm going to share a lot of my mistakes and what I learned from them, and then I want to talk about long spring trapping a lot, like, well, this is like how you modify this long spring, or this is something I do with some of my long spring traps, or this is how you replace jaws in a long spring, or, or anyway, just long spring, maybe some long spring specific stuff. And, and some of my videos might seem really basic. So you might watch them and be like, why do I need to watch that? Like how to set a long spring trap, or something. But seriously, there's a lot of long spring traps available, used, and new trappers, man, it's expensive to get into it. I pick expensive hobbies. I played the drums for most of my life. Expensive hobby, and so I don't know. Anyway, long springs, if they're available used, there's a lot of them available out there. And so it's a good way to get started, if you can get your hands on some used traps. So, I don't know, maybe y'all think I'm crazy, because coil springs are so much more compact, which they are, I know. But anyway, but that's the purpose of these videos. Feel free to share. And if you are in Idaho and you're an outdoors man or outdoors woman, whether or not you trap, I strongly encourage you to join a few organizations in Idaho. One is the Idaho Trappers Association. I strongly encourage you to join them, even if you don't trap. Two is the Idaho Houndsman Association. I don't have any hounds. I wish I did, but I joined the Idaho Houndsman Association just to support them. Three, Ducks Unlimited, if you can. They do a lot of preservation of habitat that's the same habitat for water trapping as it is for duck hunting. So my grandpa was a longtime member of Ducks Unlimited, and so if you can support Ducks Unlimited, there are other organizations too, but just join some organizations, even if they're not necessarily things you do, because the more numbers that we have in those organizations, the more power we have up in Looney Town with the elected officials. So anyway, I encourage you to do that, and I encourage you to buy local. Always buy local. Buy local, buy local, buy local, especially during the zombie apocalypse right now. Local businesses are struggling. Resist the urge to buy cheaper by going to Walmart or something like that, and go buy at mom and pop stores, mom and pop grocery stores, mom and pop restaurants. Buy local as much as you can. All right, so my next video that I shoot is going to be my first in an instructional series. And it's going to be about modifying pans on a long spring trap. So tune into that. And if you have any questions, my email is desertcoyote52@gmail.com. desertcoyote52@gmail.com. If you have questions that you'd like me to cover in a video, send them to me. I'll try to do it. If I don't have the expertise on that subject, I'll find somebody who does and have them shoot a video, and I'll share it on my YouTube channel. Okay? So thanks for that. God is great. Guns are good. And freedom is precious. Talk to you next time.